Hi, everybody. Kevin Martins. I'm EVP over here at the Partner Masters. I come to you from Microsoft, where I spent about 15 years of my career there. I did a lot of consulting work over the years, and then I ran a team for many years that was focused on modern work and security all across the Americas, working a lot with Microsoft partners and customers out there. And I joined the Partner Masters about a year ago, and it has been an amazing experience. So the Partner Masters was founded by Microsoft engineers and consultants and account managers and our focus is all on Microsoft technologies. We work with so many partners out there, including Microsoft, hence the name, the Partner Masters. But let's go ahead and go forward. And please, as you have any questions, I do have a chat window up here. It's just me presenting today, so I'll try to keep an eye on the chat window with any questions and try to answer what I can as we go forward. But what I cannot answer, I'll just let you know, and then I'll follow up with you. I'm happy to look up what I don't know, because it's always a learning opportunity. Okay, so let's roll forward. Windows 365 foundations, right? So Windows 365. We've been at this for a while. Microsoft has been at this for a while. I remember back in the day when I first started, I got my first MCSE in the late 90s on Windows NT4. I had to take all those different exams for certifications and so forth. Well, that's really when Terminal Services started, Terminal Server Edition of Win NT4. Right, so Microsoft has been at the desktop virtualization game for quite some time. I'll just build up this slide here, and you can see where we spent probably 2 decades on premises building out servers to offer up this type of service. But then, as of course, this new thing called the cloud started to take off about 10 or so years ago, we got into the cloud and started offering this as well. First with Microsoft Azure Virtual Desktop, which still exists today. We call it AVD for short. But then also a couple years ago, we went into Microsoft Windows 365, a cloud PC. What's the difference? Right, so Microsoft Azure Virtual Desktop, it's more like, and even going back to the terminal services days, it's more like you're taking a server instance and you're skimming off the server components to turn it into a user-based desktop. Well, a couple years ago, there was a flip on that, and Microsoft said, hey, why don't we go after the true user experience and take Windows 10 and then Windows 11 and put it up in the cloud, right? So the pricing structure is different. How you set up and how you manage this is different. It's actually far, far easier, if there's anything easy out there. I'll call it less complicated to manage a Windows 365 environment than AVD. AVD has so much to it. So, like I said, Microsoft has been at this for a while. And I know it's probably pretty small on your screen, but here's the Gartner Magic Report on Magic Quadrant on Desktop as a Service. You can see there's one dot, and if you can't read that because it's so small, you'll just have to trust me. One dot in the far upper right, and guess who that is? That's Microsoft, right? There's a lot of players in this field, but Microsoft is definitely ahead of the pack. If you look at the Gartner report here, it's amazing to read through and see just how far it's come. So Windows 365, it is Windows, a desktop in the cloud. It is in the GCC. It does support local, state, and federal governments and tribes in the GCC, right? You can stream it to tablets, smartphones, desktops, laptops. You can really stream it anywhere. I'll get into more of that as we go forward. It's pretty interesting on how you can stream it, where you can stream it to, and really most importantly, what's the user experience? I think you're going to be amazed. By the way, I'm going to mention this a couple times. I am talking to you today. I'm presenting this whole presentation from a Windows 365 system, right? Everything about it is on Windows 365. I am in this all day long, right? And so are all of my coworkers. So let's keep on going. Uh, in the cloud, just like on premises, just like if you were on a desktop or a laptop, that's the look and the feel. And that's how we're going to manage it as well on the back end with IT services from Microsoft. All the Microsoft 365 applications are in this desktop experience. Entra ID, identity, right? All the Defender products, Microsoft Intune is how you manage it, right? It don't think of it as too complex, because there's a lot to this, but it's made to be much easier to use and to administer on the back end. So in the GCC, there's something called Frontline, Windows 365 Frontline services. Now, frontline workers are usually shift workers, like a first, second, and third shift. Back in September, Microsoft announced that the dedicated mode of Windows 365 Frontline, the license is now available in GCC. So there's a dedicated mode and a shared mode of Windows 365. The dedicated mode, you are assigning this license up to 3 dedicated cloud PCs, and only one can be used at one time. Again, think of it like a first, second, and third shift. And every time you log in, your PC comes back on to exactly where you left off, just like mine does every day, just like a laptop would if you were using just that every day. You close the lid, you've got Teams open, you've got Word open, you've got Outlook open, Excel open, everything's open, right? Close the lid, your laptop goes to sleep. Open it up, comes awake, and there's all your applications, just like you had them. That's Windows 365, right? It just comes right back up. In shared mode, the biggest difference is it's built for occasional use, and the desktop experience resets every time it shuts down. ABD does that as well, by the way. So here's just a graphic that talks about 3 different shifts and how you could use this across different times. When I think of GCC, I think of different shifts maybe for a police force, right, for a second and third shift, or anything else out there, and how you could possibly use this. It's a great way to save money as well. That's partly why it's here, right? Why pay a license that you can have Windows 365 on all the time, all day, all night, if you're not using it, right? Well, here you can use it. You're assigning it to multiple different people in a dedicated / shared mode. So here's just an example. City of Corona. A lot of people ask us, well, how about some examples? How about some real world examples out there about different government customers who have used Windows 365? Initially, I'll just read it verbatim here. It's not too long. Initially, the city opted to build multiple vendor solutions that met most of its need, including remote access, but this created complexity. And they needed cutting edge for this time. Presented a few challenges. Occasional profile corruption issues caused headaches for users and IT desk staff. And as a careful steward of public funds, the city also needed to save on costs. They addressed these issues by becoming one of the earlier adopters of Windows 365 for government, which gave the city employees personalization on these things, as well as a highly secure environment with the cloud PCs and with a design according to government security and compliance requirements. It meets a lot of the different government requirements out there, which is fantastic. So it's a great reference case that's out there. It's publicly available to read about. So moving right along, when you think about Windows 365, again, it's that cloud PC. It's in the cloud, right? So here's just a map of where the cloud PCs are provisioned. Here's a map of the data centers. There's a lot of other data centers. There's hundreds of them out there that Microsoft owns and operates throughout the planet. But here are areas where Windows 365 can be deployed, and you choose the data center that's closest to you and your location. Right? The idea is to decrease latency on these systems. But I'll tell you what, latency is something that I've I've never had an issue with. It is simply an amazing experience. When you think about latency and what issues that could cause, again, I'm on a Windows 365 system right now. If we had latency issues, my video would not be as clear as it is. It's not choppy, neither is my voice. Anything that's streaming media, any type of latency that's in there, you're going to know it. And obviously that's not the case here. What about working in 365, right? Again, you've got all of your apps in here. It looks like a desktop. So let me break into something here. I'm going to stop the sharing of this PowerPoint here, and I'm going to share my desktop. Give me just one moment. This is where the real fun begins because, again, it's a demo and you never know what's going to happen. Okay, so because I am in a Windows 365 system, I obviously can't show you a live demonstration other than to, number one, show you that this is my desktop. This is Microsoft Edge as a browser. You see all my apps down here at the bottom. This, to me, it's a desktop. It's a laptop, but it's a cloud PC. I'm going to show you how I access it here in a few minutes, but let me show you what the sign-in experience looks like. Okay, so this sign-in experience, and I'm going to talk about many ways that you can access Windows 365 as we go forward. This is using the Windows app. The Windows app is a free app that you can get from the Microsoft Store on any Windows 10 or 11 device. You download it, comes down in minutes. You pin it to your desktop, to your taskbar rather, and you launch it. And here we go. Now I've got a sign-in screen. Well, let's go sign in. I'm going to sign in as Alan here. Again, this is just a demonstration environment. It's a demonstration environment that you can run as well. I'll give you the link to do that later on. But here, notice what I have. I'm prompted with a multi-factor authentication request. Now, while it's an MFA request here, that if this were live and my account were connected to it, I'd get an MFA prompt using my Microsoft Authenticator app on my iPhone. But I can also use FIDO2 keys, and that's actually what I use every day. So for me, a prompt comes up every day, and it requests a PIN. I put that PIN in, I touch my YubiKey, and off it goes. And then I sign in. Watch what happens. And this is all part of the demo here, but let's go to the desktop. Okay, so now I'm in the app. I'm signed in. You can see the account up here, right? And now, oops, I got to do some favorites here. I got to pin it to the desktop. Whoops, make it a favorite. It's forcing me to walk through the demo here. Go to favorites. Close this. And I'm going to pin it to the desktop, to the taskbar rather. Yes. Okay, so now it's pinned here. So now I don't even have to go through the front end app experience now. Here it is, it's set as a favorite. So let me close this. And now I'm gonna hit connect. Watch what happens within just a few seconds. And this, even though this is a scripted demo here, this is my experience. It just fires right up. It's always on. It's always available. You see the signal strength indicator up here. You see it's a cloud business PC for business. I've got 2 virtual CPUs, 8 gigs of memory, and 128 gig hard drive. That's all I need. That's all I work with every day. It's a base configuration, right? You've got Edge in here. You've got all your apps. Here's the cool thing. You can manage all of this experience out of the box. You can define what the background screen looks like. You can install apps, your own apps. It does not have to be Microsoft apps. You can place the apps in a certain location. You can customize the start button any way you like. You can do everything here that you would normally do for an out-of-the-box experience on a normal laptop or a desktop, right? That's the power of what this is. There's so much to this. It's amazing. And in case you can't tell, I love it. So excited to talk to you more about it. Let me stop sharing this and let me get back into the slides here. Take a moment for it to come back up. I didn't want to just go through all slides and show you a couple of screenshots of what the desktop looks like and say, trust me, that's what it looks like. I wanted to show it to you, including my own desktop that's in Windows 365, as well as the demonstration that's there. Okay, and I'll go back to where I left off in the slides as soon as they appear. Just waiting for it to catch up. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Windows 365 in GCC. Wait for this to build out. Okay, there we go. Here's a number of different options that you can choose, right? I told you what, you saw what that demo was. It had two virtual CPUs on it, 8 gigs of memory and 128 gigs of hard drive space. That's this one right here, right? But then we've also got larger ones out there. We've got 4 virtual CPUs with different memory and hard drive configurations, 8 virtual CPUs, 16 virtual CPUs. And now in public preview in the GCC, we have GPU enabled systems. What's the difference? Well, obviously, if I'm on a laptop that's it's lower powered, it doesn't have its own graphics card, right? Its own NVIDIA card, or you name the vendor. My graphics are probably not going to be optimized. So if I'm a heavy user of Adobe products, for example, or even when I think about government, I think about Esri products like ArcGIS or something, right? I think of graphically heavy, or rather applications that require a lot of GPU power, right? That's what this is here. Obviously, as you go up in the resources here, whatever you choose, the price will also go up on these as well. But again, graphic design and GPUs, 3D modeling, image and video rendering, data processing, and visualization. So here's where it kind of gets interesting too. What if you've got an older PC out there, right? Maybe your recycle is every 4 or 5 years on computers in your environment. What if you could keep it, especially those computers that are more high-end or were high-end? Do you want to spend another $2,000 or $3,000 on a new high-end system? Or maybe you've got some budgetary constraints, but you've got to enable your people, your employees, to use the latest technology. The latest Adobe products are no longer working on these old PCs. You can bridge the gap. You can use this for another year or two and keep them going. But it's not just on that single old PC. What if they could access it from their own system at home? Well, it's a cloud PC, right? It builds with the Zero Trust model from Microsoft, right? All secure, that you're not getting data off of it. There's no way to get into it. But it's running off of home computers now, if that's what you wanted to do. But I wanted to put this slide in here. For the GPU, Windows 365 choices, you've got standard, super, and max. It almost sounds like different rocket names from SpaceX or something. I'll call this one Gigamax over here. Let's keep going. Secure by design. I just talked about that a little bit. Wait for this to build out. Don't know why that's not building out for me. Ah, there we go. Protect sensitive environments, operate legacy and current applications. That's key. I'll talk about that in a few minutes, right? For anyone that's worried about, well, geez, I've got this old system over here, this old application was only designed to run up on Windows 7, for example. How am I going to take care of that if I want to go into a Windows 365 environment? I have an answer for that. Stay tuned. You can accelerate onboarding, minimize disruptions. You're reducing costs. You're improving efficiency. Those users, again, that need heavy graphics cards, you can give them a GPU model and have them go forward. Hybrid workforce, you've got that here. Again, you can access this from anywhere out there, whether it be on an Android tablet, like an iPad, laptop, desktop, smartphones, you name it. The possibilities are endless. But let's talk more about that and focus in on this, right? So how do you access this from an iPad? Well, you download the app, and you sign in. You get prompted for a multi-factor authentication, and then up it comes. And then maybe you've got a mouse and a desktop that is Bluetooth connected to that iPad. Now the iPad is just the screen, right? Same thing on Android, Google Play. Download the app, get right in the same way. Download on the Microsoft Store that's out there. This is interesting, and this is actually my setup right here. It's not as pretty as this, but it has the same components. This is Microsoft Link, L-I-N-K. Okay, it's a very small device. I'll show you some specifics in a moment. That sits on my desk. It replaced a full desktop that I'd had for years, and that full desktop consumed some power. Right, I had 32 gigs of memory, half terabyte hard drive, and I think it was a Core i7 processor. It took some heat, right, and probably cost me a bit of extra electricity. And I know everyone's concerned about their bills out there now with electric companies too. I'll talk more about this in just a moment. But another way that you can access Windows 365 is through something called Windows 365 Boot. This is where I can take an old PC and I can actually configure it to boot right into Windows 365, right? Very, very interesting. Because, and I say old PC or old laptop, I mean, all you're doing is just accessing a computer in the cloud. Do I need that much power on these old systems? No, not anymore. It's all the processing, everything is done in the cloud. I'm essentially seeing just screenshots through a remote desktop that's here on my computer right now. You can also access it through a browser. If you go to windows365.microsoft.com, you will get this screen. Notice how this screen is very similar, different color. This is dark mode. Very similar to what the demo was that I showed. That's by design, right? Because we want the same user experience across everything. So we train a user once, and they can access it from any device out there that you give them access to. This is very interesting here. Windows 365 smartphone connections, only for Android, right? Notice this here. So if you take, and this is on an Android device, if you take that Android device and it's got USB-C on it, okay, you download the app and I think it's Google Play. Again, I'm an Apple user myself, but you access your system, and then you take that USB-C, that connection, put it into your monitor, and then you connect up a keyboard and a mouse. You've got a computer sitting there, right? That's all you need. So do you need to carry a laptop with you anymore? An iPad? Any type of tablet? Anything else other than your smartphone and a connection to then get that full computer experience from anywhere now, because you're going over 5G, LTE, whatever it may be, right? Very interesting. Let's focus in on the Link device. This is one of my favorites, right? So the Link device. Now, this is something that is in the public cloud. It was built for the GCC as well. It is not certified yet, but as of Microsoft Ignite and a few discussions, it is currently going through the certification process. But here it is, very small device, That's what I've got on my desk. I used it now for probably 6 months. I haven't had one issue with it. It is amazing, right? Very small. It's only about about an inch wide and maybe 5 by 5, just a rough estimate. But it does have a number of ports on there, right? Plenty of ports for me. I've got 2 monitors running. I've got an HDMI connection and a DisplayPort connection. I got my obviously my Logitech webcam running here. I also have my headset on and my YubiKey, all running off that system. It's fantastic, and it's very low powered. It's Energy Star certified, right? So big difference over my other desktop with those with that Core i7 spec that I was telling you about. It doesn't get warm. It's fanless. It's amazing. And the neat thing is, tell you a little bit more about this as well as we go forward. It has no apps on it, right? But in Microsoft Teams, it's optimized for this, right? I'm on the video call right now. I've been on the video call now. We're at 29 minutes past the hour. There's not been one hiccup in my video stream, or hopefully my voice, right? I can watch videos on here. If I want to pull up YouTube in a browser, I can do that. And the videos just come right across like a normal desktop, a normal laptop. It's amazing, right? Let's see. There's no local apps on the Link device. There's no local data. I can't access it. I cannot access this thing. There's strict app control policy. It's even the updates that run the operating system that's on here on the back end, all controlled by Microsoft. It checks in every night, and if there's an update available, it will automatically apply to that system and reboot it as needed. Right? I mentioned FIDO2 keys. I've got a YubiKey on here, right? It's got BitLocker encryption on it. Everything that you would expect from the modern Microsoft security offerings right now. Let's see, and this is all about the updates. Yep, checks in overnight, 3 a.m. to download and install the updates. It just went over that, all the drivers, all the firmware, Defender, signatures, everything. So let's move into a few other options here, right? When you think about Windows 365, and you think about the Link device, and you say, Kevin, that's great, but it's all in the cloud. How am I going to print to my printer that's behind me in the office? Aha. You can set up Microsoft 365, Windows 365 rather, cloud printing, right? Universal print for users. Basically, what you're doing is you're taking a printer and you're registering it as part of Microsoft Azure, and you're setting that up. So if you browse for the printer, you'll find it, and then you can print. So that's on the Link device. But if I'm using the app from the Windows Store that I demonstrated earlier, in there you're going to get an option. Do I want to use local printers, local USB devices such as my headset, local this, local that, right? You would select the printers, and it would find it, whatever's installed on your local laptop or desktop, it would then carry over. Here's just a small diagram about how Microsoft Universal Print works. I'll skip by that just in the interest of time. This is interesting. What about Windows 365 reservations? Not in the GCC yet. Okay, and I say yet because there's a lot more coming. Microsoft has a lot of resources invested in the further development of Windows 365 out there. But Windows 365 reservations is a standalone Windows 365 offering that provides easy-to-use, secured, and dedicated cloud PC access when physical devices are unavailable or short-term access is needed. So I think about a few things on this. What if you're like, Kevin, you know what? Windows 365 looks great. It's not for us yet. However, I have been thinking about some kind of a disaster recovery type protocol, some type of a program out there. We've heard about, and hopefully none of you have experienced this, malware, ransomware, infections, holding county and city and state and local governments hostage, right? Well, what if you had a Windows 365 system that was ready to go? You were paying not for a full license, but a reserved license for it, right? What if you had that available? Could you give that to a couple of users, right? Because you're not going to do this for everybody, but you still want the leadership to be able to use these systems. What if, like, I'm calling in from the Mid-Atlantic, from the Maryland area. Okay, now we've had an ice storm, we've had a snowstorm, we've got severe cold going on. My kids actually went back to school today. They've been out all week because of all this. It's been a real mess here, right? A lot of power outages and so forth. And for a couple of days, people couldn't get very far. Well, how do you enable your leadership for your county, city, township, whatever it may be, to get into the office when they simply can't, right? Maybe you don't have VPNs anymore. Maybe you offer up a Windows 365 reservation, something they can use for the short term to just fill in the gap for a couple days out of each year, right? I think it's up to 10 days is what it is. Yep, there it is on the screen. And then what about if there's a problem with the data center that's local to you? Remember I showed the map on where you can provision your Windows 365 systems. You want to provision them close to you. Well, what if you could replicate those across the country to a different data center region, right? So there are add-on capabilities available out there as well. I also mentioned something earlier about Windows 365 and application compatibility. Thinking about those apps, my example I used was, what if you had something that was running or designed to run only on Windows 7 or before? Something that's pretty old that you can't get rid of anymore. The vendor is no longer in business for whatever that application is. How do you get that off of your local systems and into the cloud? Well, Microsoft wants to encourage you to get to Windows 365. So they've got a program out there. They will offer up their expertise to help provide the shims, I call them shims, the capabilities that are needed to take those perhaps incompatible applications and port them over to Windows 365. And you can see a list of different things that are here, right? Continuing on, those of you that are on Windows 10, right? When we think about Windows 10, it went end of life, end of servicing, October 14th, 2025, just a couple of months ago. How are you getting your updates if you haven't migrated to Windows 11? You can purchase that, right? It's pretty pricey, or you can give everyone the option to go into Windows 365. And that applies the extended security update program where you do get all of your security updates in the cloud on Windows 365. Right, here's just a couple of offerings where that applies on Windows 365, Azure Virtual Desktop, as well as physical devices. Okay, so getting towards the end of the presentation here, end of my slides. And thanks for bearing with me. Hopefully this has been educational and inspiring. And hopefully my passion has come through for this technology here, because it is amazing. Again, I work with it every day. Everyone in my company works with it, right? It's fantastic. We're all on calls every single day. But what have we learned by doing this over the past couple of years of being on this, right? I mentioned my Link device is about 6 months old, but I was using it beforehand. So anyone that's new that joins the Partner Masters, boy, do we have things just scripted right out, right? They'll get an email to their personal address, right? And then it'll have a site to go to. It'll have their username. They log in. Hey, let me know when you're ready. I'll give you a temporary code that gets you in to Windows 365 on your own system if you haven't received one from us yet, depending on how you want to access it, right? We do have some options. But it just makes the onboarding experience that much easier. When I think about the business world, when I think about mergers and acquisitions, okay, so on day one of an acquisition, whatever that day may be, hey, things better be ready to go, right? Your email's got to be flipped over. Your desktop or laptop needs to be unjoined from whatever domain or Azure AD it was joined to and over to the new one. There's so much that has to happen. Well, what if you keep that system that you had with the old company and I just give you access to a Windows 365 system that's part of the new company where all your email and everything else is? Do I have to do any type of like unjoin from this domain, join over here. Nope, not anymore. It's a great way to get people going very, very quickly. I've also noticed too, the first item up here, amazing download speeds. So when I'm working with things in OneDrive or I'm downloading something from the internet, again, it's all hosted on Azure. It's Windows 365 in the cloud. I'm getting the download speeds right out of these data centers. It is screaming. Now, granted, my Xfinity home ISP that I've got here is pretty good as well, but it's not like this, right? Sharing of files, downloading of files, emails, and so forth. It screams in the cloud. Energy savings, I talked about that a little bit, using my Link device over a more high-powered system. We even had some people with some Surface Studio 2s, which are really large laptops with their own GPU in there. It really does suck up some energy as well. But give them a Windows 365, give them a GPU system in the cloud. From an IT administration and a troubleshooting perspective, look, we've all had those systems where Windows updates won't take. We don't know why, right? We'll troubleshoot it for an hour. Okay, I got to go do something else, but I'll get back into it. We'll go back another hour and try to fix it. And man, nothing we do and all the research that we do, we cannot get these Windows updates to apply. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. So do I continue troubleshooting that? Or do I just re-provision the Windows 365 system? That's what I do. And in minutes, the system is back up. Now, granted, like I said, the Teams and Outlook and so forth, they're not going to be open when that person logs back in, but it's a brand new system, customized for them. Just click on Outlook, up comes your email. Click on Teams, up comes all your Teams conversations. Click on OneDrive, all your files are there because everything's stored in the cloud. I'm just re-provisioning the Windows system in the cloud, and I'm fixing any issue that they had out there. Simply amazing. Wow, what a help desk savior, I'll call it, right? Especially from a troubleshooting perspective. Cost savings, the Link device that I talked about, that's what, $400, $350, $400? Certainly far less than what a new laptop or a desktop may be. I'm not sure if everyone's aware or how much you're following the news from a technical perspective, but for the past couple of years, as data centers have been being built out, GPUs have skyrocketed in cost, right? Supply and demand. Well, now apparently memory is doing the same thing. Memory for server systems in the cloud, but also memory for laptops and desktops and so forth. So I'm just starting to wait, to wait and see, the next laptop or desktop I want to buy, how much more will it be? Well, with Windows 365, I don't have that issue. I'm paying a subscription cost every single month for it, right? So a bit of different ways to think about the cost savings here. The easy user onboarding, I talked about that already, how well scripted we have things here, and how easy it is for our new employees to onboard, right? And then also the customers that we work with, my gosh, they love it. They love it. Everyone from the IT admins and how they're managing things now to just the end user experience. It is just so easy, right? On this system here, on this Link system, my double screen, right? I can lock this and walk away when I'm done here later on today, right? And then I can go out to maybe my couch in my living room, right? And pull up a laptop, click on the Windows app that's on there, and up comes my screen again. Even though the laptop's only a single screen, everything comes back up right where I was. I close that down, I come back here to my Link device, and I went from 2 screens to 1 screen, and now I'm going back to 2 screens. Everything goes back to 2 screens, just like I had it, right? It's just an amazing experience. Same thing from a smartphone or an iPad or any type of tablet that's out there. It's fantastic. So what's next? Right? What else can you do? Where else do you go to learn more about Windows 365? Look, I'm happy to go into more details with you. And I've been seeing some questions in here. I'll try to go through them pretty quickly. as we finish out the slide deck here as well. But where can you go next, right? How about a readiness assessment, right? Hey, I'm happy to talk with you for maybe 30 minutes, quick call. Tell me more about your environment. I'll ask you a couple of key questions, and hey, we can talk about it. Yeah, is Windows 365 a good fit, or maybe not? Maybe you're not ready yet, or maybe it's just not the best fit, right? But what's better than that? Then, hey, let's do a pilot. Maybe it's a proof of concept for a couple of users, not just in a lab environment, some kind of a demonstration. Do it live, right? And then we can do a cost and ROI comparison workshop. That's a whole business plan behind this, right? What if you've got a fleet of 1,500 systems that you now need to replace, and you've been looking at Windows 365, but you're just not sure? Like, geez, is it really going to save me that much money in the long run? Yes, we have a lot of comparisons that we can draw from to help come up with a return on the investment that's customized for you. Right, and then security and compliance, alignment reviews, we can look at that. We can look and see what do you have to align to as far as government certifications and so forth for Windows 365, and we can make sure that it matches that or not. Again, maybe it's not the right fit, right? And then we can talk about the first use cases that might be best for your environment. Maybe you're ready to go and you just, hey, who should I start with first? Yes, IT is always the answer, but who else? Right? So tell us more about your environment and we can help you out with that. Look, at the Partner Masters, we've been doing this for a long time. We love it. I've got a couple of contacts with the product group. We're always talking to them and giving some feedback. It's been a fantastic experience using this, both as an end user every day, what better way to use it and understand it, as well as deploying it for customers out there. So with that, I will leave up on the screen my contact info. Please feel free to reach out. Happy to talk with you more. And I will go through, I probably don't have enough time to get to everything here, but let's see what kind of questions I can pull out. Is there a rough time frame for the Link GCC approval? I do not have that. I don't think it'll be long, to be honest. I know it's been out there for a while, and like I think I mentioned, it was built, it was designed to be certified for use in GCC. So I don't think it'll take that long here. How and who performs troubleshooting? How do you escalate to tier 2 or 3? What's the response time for escalations? I'm not sure if I understand the context of that question. I mean, we've got our own support system here. Really, it's someone contacts us for any issues. And like I was saying, it depends on the issue. Is it a Windows update issue? Okay, maybe we'll take 5 or 10 minutes and we'll look at it, see if it's something easy. Or we also manage everything through Intune as well here, so we're more proactive than that. But if we have to get onto a system and look at it and try to unstuck Windows updates out there, unstick rather, if it's any more than a few minutes, we'll just reprovision it. Wow, what a time saver. Let's see. When reprovisioning the Windows system, do individual non-Microsoft specific applications need to be reinstalled? No. They come through, that's all managed through Intune. What happens to your data in the event your subscription ends? Well, remember, as long as you have a Microsoft 365 or some other subscription out there that's giving you your Outlook, your OneDrive, your Word, your Excel, and so forth, remember, Windows 365 is just the interface to get to that data, right? It's not that that's the only way to access your data. You can still access it from a laptop, a desktop, whatever. It's just this is a new interface to get to it. Are there any applications that have been identified that do not work with this? Not that I'm aware of. Let me go further up the screen. Do the print functions work for network copiers as well, as long as the drivers work? Yep, haven't had any issues there. Internet capacity for this. How would we calculate the required internet capacity for this? We do have some calculators for that, but remember, like I said, you can use this off a smartphone, off of 5G, off of LTE. It's an amazing experience. Look, I have 3 kids. I'm always driving them somewhere. One of them can drive now, but the other 2, I'm always driving somewhere. And and I think a lot of you can relate. It's always like, geez, it's 15 minutes away. It's only an hour long. What do I do? Do I drop them off and come back only for a half hour later just to have to go back out the door? No, I sit there, but I'm on my laptop and I'm connecting to a Windows 365 system through my iPhone, right? It's my Wi-Fi connection point. Incredible. It just doesn't hiccup. It's amazing. Looks like it looks like from that slide that Windows 365 boot still requires an old computer to run Windows 11. No, I mean, you can use a newer computer if you like. A Windows 11 computer, Windows 10 computer, the Link device, a web browser, like I mentioned before. Is the Link device included in the license price? No. So that's a physical device that you would have to buy, right? Again, it's a lower cost, much lower entry point than what you've got out there for laptops and desktops and all the different models and vendors and so forth. Let's see what else we have here. Can the frontline and or shared system be used from a home computer as well? Yes. Remember, a home computer is just the access point to get into Windows 365, right? So whether it's a home computer, whether it's a company or government provided computer, you just need a way to access Windows 365, and the license is applied on the back end. Do we limit or present only the models we choose as far as CPU, memory, etc.? Yes. You wouldn't give everyone the option of a GPU system that don't need it, right? Because again, every one of those, I think there were 4 or 5 on my screen that I showed up on that one slide. As you go up in the amount of resources that you're giving someone, so does the cost. You don't want to, and you're assigning those particular resources to that user, right? So I might get a very low cost system, whereas someone in my marketing department might get something that's much, much higher end at a much higher cost, right? I don't get to choose that as the end user, only the admins do. So you can price this out. The other good thing that I did not mention between Windows 365 and AVD is AVD, the cost can fluctuate. How long do you have it on, right? Windows 365, it's one price, right? One price per resource set, I should say. So you know what you're going to pay every single month out there. It certainly helps out with budgeting and so forth. Is Frontline designed to work with Windows 365 Link hardware? Yes. Can we include our notification that this is a city-owned system and you are subject to its proper use? I assume you're talking about like a type of a login screen or something. That I haven't done specifically, but I don't see why not, right? That's something that these are Intune managed, so I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do that. The Office product, great question. The Office product within Windows 365, is it the full desktop experience or is it just an online version of Windows 365? Well, it depends on the SKU that you get, right? If you get Office 365 Basic, right, that's just the browser applications, then I pull up Windows 365, I open my browser, I go to portal.office.com, and I open up my web version of those applications. But if I have Microsoft 365 E3, E5, whatever the other ones are that offer up the full desktop experience, I open up Windows 365 and I've got the full desktop experience, right? Remember, Windows 365 is your interface, just like a Windows system, to access all these applications out there. And then the license for the applications is what's going to dictate, are they online versions or full desktop experience versions? Let's see what else we have in here. Public PC in a library. Public PC in a library, a good use for this. Yes, I'd say in the shared mode though. And remember that in GCC right now, only the dedicated mode was announced back in September of 2025, right? So I assume the shared mode is on the way. But remember, the shared mode, when you log out, it resets the whole system, right? That's not like the other experiences in Windows 365, whereas again, you shut it down and then you bring it back up and everything's back to where it was, including all your data and so forth. But with a shared system, the frontline usage of Windows 365 in a library in that case, it'll reset every single time, right? But yeah, I could see a link device, because the link device won't do anything else, and you can also lock the link device as well. But yeah, you could put when that's available, putting a shared license on there, that would be interesting and a low cost. How are the employees licensed with a shared model? That's up to 3. Assume that's a number. I think that's the end of the questions. Let's see what's. I like this last one, and I don't have the answer to that. Is it possible to configure a shared 365 to open via a kiosk machine? Not the link device, but again, if you take an older laptop or an older desktop and you put Windows 365 boot on it, you're configuring that PC to launch right into Windows 365. Would it be considered a kiosk PC? I don't know. We'd have to look deeper into that, but the elements are there. That's a good one. Let's see, what else? Are there any other applications that have been done? Okay, I already answered that one. I don't see anything else in here. But hey, with that, hey, thank you all very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Hopefully this was educational as well as inspiring. And remember that, man, there is so much more to come with Windows 365. Microsoft's investing very, very heavily on this. It was amazing at the Microsoft Ignite conference in San Francisco back in November, a couple of months ago, to talk with the program managers and actually some of the developers that were there, just to hear about their passion as well for the product that they're building here. And then of course you can hear my passion in my voice as we use this every day, as we deploy for customers. It's just a fantastic experience at a pretty low cost when we compare how expensive other things are out there. So if you have any further questions or you want to hop on a quick call, happy to talk with you all more. My email address is here at the bottom of the screen. But with that, thank you all again very much, and look forward to hearing from you. Bye, everyone.